Hello everyone and welcome to the United Stand Calling Show where you get to grill me, or Mordzs in that sense.
Or me.
Yeah, that's what it's become now. It's become a grilling session of Faz. But listen, I'm very much excited to host today's calling show and bring you all the topics that you want to talk about. If you don't know how to join into the calling show, there is a Discord link. For all the people that keep asking me, how do I join in, how do I join in? There's a Discord link. There should be a barcode somewhere on the screen that you can use to download the app and get into the Discord channel where I am very much active. So for all the callers who are coming from the Discord, I'm very much active on the Discord where I communicate with all the fans and you can come and have your say. Mods, how are you feeling about today's show?
No, I'm feeling good. I mean, it was a good day yesterday. I think finally on the forum, there was a bit more energy. Everyone felt a bit more lively, you know what I'm saying? I could tell by this coat as well. You felt good as well.
I'm feeling Gucci. I'm feeling happy. Ten Hag has got us 3 points. Chelsea are in the mud.
Yeah.
The performance was good. It wasn't like a smash and grab.
It was a full night.
Last minute. It was good. Yeah. It was actually a good performance, and the players are seemingly happy. All of them, majority of them, if I'm not mistaken, have made Instagram posts. Yeah. And even Harry Maguire is involved in social media, you know? When Harry's involved, you know, things are looking good.
You know something's good. You know something's going well with the team. Yeah.
So. But I want to know what you have to say. I think we've got our first caller who's going to join in. And just before I bring in the callers as well, make sure, Christmas show on Monday. Talking like this is great. But when we're face to face, because I was in the last show, I remember the last show in London, when we're face to face, that's where the real debates start. Faz, you said this, you said that, I don't like this, but I agree with this. I want to see you there. December 11th, Manchester Century Hall, only a handful of tickets left. Grab the ticket link in the bio, and I will see you there. We will all be there as well, and we've got a jam-packed show, good few hours of just pure entertainment. Yeah. The first caller that we have is Arad, who wants to talk about Hojlund and McTominay. They don't suit the team when they play together. This is very, very interesting. Okay, Arad, are you here and can you hear us?
I can hear you guys. How are you doing?
I'm all right. I'm alive. I can't complain. Thank you very much for joining. Please do unpack this. What do you mean by Hojlund and McTominay, they don't suit together?
So I think it's been obvious that Rasmus has been struggling in front of goal, especially you know, in the Premier League. He's not got off the mark yet. I think he's doing a lot of the right things. And we also know that McTominay is the kind of midfielder that likes to make late runs into the box. He's shown it a few times this season and got some very important goals as well, to be fair to him. But I think he occupies a lot of the same spaces as Rasmus would potentially like to. I think that goal, the second goal he scored yesterday, is a good example of it, where Rasmus, I think, is within a meter of him. And of course, we don't mind who scores, but for my liking, I want to have strikers that are hungry for goals. And I actually think if instead of McTominay, we've got maybe a Mainu, you know, a Casemiro, even a Mount, probably we can score more goals and create better chances for our strikers than having a McTominay that maybe comes into the box and scores every now and then.
But don't you think that's something Ten Hag has set out, Mods?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say, I said it yesterday about I'd rather my strikers score the goals instead of my midfield, especially the deeper line midfielders. I'd want Hojlund to be getting those goals. But I think the main thing is really, if McTominay is getting into the positions that Hojlund is supposed to be getting into, isn't that a problem with Hojlund, not McTominay?
No, a lot of people are asking questions about his movement.
McTominay is a good striker as well. I think he can play as a backup striker. He's just not a midfielder for me, and that's why I think if you play a proper midfielder instead of him, who is there to give the support to the midfield, and what's a midfield's job is to connect the back line to the forward line. Then we potentially score even more goals. And that's the point I'm trying to make is McTominay is good at what he does, but he's in the wrong position. And yes, Rasmus should be doing better, but I think it stifles his game when you've got a midfielder trying to do a striker's role.
But Arad, Casemiro was getting loads of goals as well when he was fit and playing in the team. It clearly seems like the team is creating enough chances and players are in the right areas at the right time to score the goal. If that were, look, if it was Bruno Fernandes instead of Scott McTominay scoring those goals, I don't think this conversation gets brought up.
It wouldn't.
No, I think we still have the conversation, but I think it's very different goals we're talking about. I think when I think back to Casemiro, he had a few really good set-piece goals. You know, the one in the Carabao Cup final, and then a couple more in the league where he's got on the end of some good crosses from Luke Shaw. I think that's very different to open play, getting into the box and finishing chances that a striker does. I think Bruno doesn't do that enough, really. As a number 10, you'd want your number 10 to not only create, but maybe get in on some of the wingers' passes in the box. So, I think it's very different discussions, but I do see where you're coming from. I still stand by the fact that maybe if yesterday we've got a Mainu playing instead of Scott McTominay, we maybe win the game by 4 or 5 more. And we probably should have done so anyway, because the performance was really good. But then it's also how bad were Chelsea and how good were we? There's that discussion. But if you don't mind, Faz, I've got a question for you.
Okay.
Because you mentioned quite a lot with Rashford that we've got to accept the player that he is.
Yes.
And I've got a problem with that in the sense that, I'll give you an analogy to explain it. If you've got a toxic relationship that, your partner's cheating on you, you don't just say, I'll accept them for who they are. You kind of set your standards. You say, no, this isn't good enough for me. And I think that's what a lot of fans are on about. Like, some things that Rashford does are just not good enough. So why do we have to accept that?
Because financially, we're not ready to part ways.
I don't think we want to part ways. Like, for my
well,
liking,
then why?
I know
what we're going to do?
Never sell him, but just don't play him.
But that's the same thing as telling your partner stop cheating. It's not good enough, anyways. You have to part ways. If you want to move forward with your life, you have to part ways. If you want better, you have to go and get better. And if we want to go and get better, the only way we can do that is by selling Marcus Rashford. That's the only thing we can do.
Which we can't do.
Because many managers have tried to change or tried to utilize him in the team. And the common denominator has come down to that he isn't the player that this particular manager wants to play a certain type of football. Let's be deadly honest. Is he going to invert in and cross the ball? Is he going to go down the byline and cross the ball with his left foot? Is he going to be more creative? Oh, you've seen Marcus Rashford for how many years now? And you know exactly the type of player he is. You don't need any more sample size. You've seen him under numerous different managers, numerous different systems, numerous different positions as well, right, left, middle.
So do you think Rashford wouldn't work in the Ten Hag system at all? Because in my opinion, Rashford's better than Anthony, and Anthony worked at Ajax.
Well, I'm yet to be proven wrong. Yes, he got the. But the funny thing is, some people will turn around and say, "Well, Faz, you have been proven wrong because look at the goals and assists he gave last season." So my thing is, if that happened, why is it different this season? Either Marcus Rashford cannot fit into the system, and if you use the argument of his goals and assists from last season, then what I'll say is, well, then there's clearly a problem in the changing room with him, because that is not the player. It's one or the other. There's something going on in his personal life or in his footballing life that is causing him issues on the pitch. Absolutely.
If I can just quickly respond to that is, I don't like to use last season's goals and assists. I think anyway that's a bit of a myth because he had 4 good months really out of an 8-9 month season. So it's not even that he had a good season; he had a good patch. But I think when you talk about he can't adapt to Ten Hag's style of play, for me a good example of that is Maguire. I'm not saying Maguire's adapted to being the perfect Ten Hag centre back. He's got his limitations, but let's be honest, he's keeping Varane out the team, and rightly so. I don't know about the whole dressing room unrest between Varane and Ten Hag. Okay. There might be something there, but who knows, that didn't kick off because Varane said, hey, I want to play, but Maguire's ahead of me. So I just think like Rashford can do more to try at least adapt to. And what we're asking him is not a lot, like tracking back and giving 100% effort is not something that is a Ten Hag style of play. That's just bare minimum requirements.
We'll have to see with the Rashford situation. It's only been, 2 games or it's been 3 games, I think, 3 full games that he hasn't been involved in, and but he still comes in off the bench, in 2 of those games. So we'll have to see. But look, Arad, thank you very much for calling in. Really appreciate you. That was an interesting one. Scott McTominay getting in the positions that Rasmus should be.
I mean, we spoke about it yesterday, and you made the point about does it really matter who gets the goal at the end of the day? And, I hear what he's saying about maybe would have scored more goals, but that Chelsea side were giving us chances. And I think if you did replace McTominay with a Mainu, I'm not as confident as everybody else that we would have won that game. I'm really not, because, like I said, there was a couple of chances that Chelsea had where they should have scored. It's just that they've been very wasteful this season in general. So the fact that he did get us those goals, and it's not the first time he's got us these goals, so I can't say it's a coincidence that McTominay just scored. He's done it a few times this season. I think that is a positive. That's a benefit that we should be looking to continue. We shouldn't be thinking it was just an anomaly. Let's kick him out of the team now and bring in Mainu. It doesn't make sense. If he's doing something that's helping us, let's try and build on that instead of replacing him. And like I said, the problem I think really should be with Hojlund. As a striker, look at someone like, I know this is a long time ago, but look at someone like Drogba and Lampard. Lampard got a lot of goals from midfield, but Drogba there was never a point where Drogba was like, Lampard's getting to my position.
Yeah.
No, he's still the main striker. He's still getting into the right position.
Funny enough, John Obi Mikel said, you know, when we had the likes of Drogba and Anelka and all of them, our job was to feed them.
Yeah.
And them not scoring goals affected us more than anything. He was saying on his podcast, I've been watching his podcast religiously, he says, the strikers not scoring goals affected the changing room because they start looking at everyone else. The strikers are always looking at everyone else thinking, why am I not getting the service? Why I'm running, I'm making the runs, I'm being in the right areas, but the ball is not coming to me. So we had to adapt to that because Lamps would get the goal, or I would get a goal, or, you know, Solomon or whoever would get the goals. But the strikers, you have to feed them constantly or else it affects the changing room. And the thing about Rashford, just before I come into the next caller, is when Rashford is on the pitch, do you see, one, Rashford creating the same opportunity that Garnacho did yesterday?
No.
Right, that's one point. And two, when Rashford's on the pitch, the team almost have to change the way they play to suit Rashford a bit more, to bring him into the game. Whereas with Garnacho, it's not the case. He's actually adding to the team. He's an addition to the creativity to the team. Whereas Rashford, it's almost like the creativity side has to get through him, and it's like give the ball to Rashford and see maybe he gets a goal or something.
Yeah, that's because he's a focal point. I know we're going to get into the next caller anyway, but he is a focal point, and I think if you have scored that many goals, especially in one few seasons, you're expected to be a focal point because people think, well, we've seen him do it before. Yeah. There's a chance he could do it again. But yeah, let's get into the next caller.
I think it's contract motivation. Kabir is the next caller. Kabir said he wants to talk about the midfield. He hasn't really said what exactly the midfield is. Kabir, can you hear us?
Hello?
Kabir, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hi, Kabir. Kabir, are you there?
Not able to hear all that well. Can you...
I can hear you. You wanted to speak about the midfield. What is it with the midfield? Are you happy? Are you unhappy? What is the issue with the midfield?
I'm extremely unhappy with our midfield right now. See, I understand Scott McTominay, he's scoring goals. That's why Ten Hag, I think guys, start him now. But I don't think that our midfield is helping our defense out as much as they should. Ten Hag has made his defensive signings. He's made signings under Bath. That is a CDM there. And a defensive midfielder who has the passing ability, right? So now by playing Scott McTominay there, he's not good at the defense part. He's not good in the defensive way. He's more good. You get him into the box, he scores, as Aaron said in his talk here. But I think because of Scott McTominay going forward, so he's forward. So then if he's unable to score the goals, which no one's going to be able to score the goals every time the same way that they do, there can be a break. There'll be less people, and I think we'll end up conceding goals that way. And if he takes this midfield of Scott McTominay here to Anfield, brother, it's going to be worse than 7-0.
I agree.
That's what
I agree.
It's going to be worse than 7-0 if we do this.
Okay.
And I've never thought that this midfield was a final midfield anyway. I think this is kind of a midfield to get us through these tough times, I can't lie. You look at it on paper, and I know on paper sometimes can be a bit deceiving because there are teams and other teams in the Premier League where look at Brighton, on paper they might not look the greatest, but they'll still take a lot of teams, Aston Villa as well. But you look at it on paper, McTominay, Amrabat and obviously Bruno, that isn't the kind of midfield that Manchester United, a team that's fighting for top 4, fighting for top 3, fighting for big trophies, that we want to be going forward with, especially in a game against Liverpool where, yes, obviously they have their problems with their DM and whatnot, but Liverpool are a strong team. They're not a team where you can kind of just roll them over. You kind of need to take control of them kind of games or they'll just blitz 4 or 5 goals against you and it's going to be a long day. So I agree a lot. I think the midfield isn't finalised. Like I said, I don't think this is the midfield that Ten Hag wants to be his final midfield, but it is a midfield that's getting us through these games. And like I said before on the forum, when a player's in form, you can't just drop them. It doesn't make sense.
You can't. It's not fair.
Because when the players are out of form, we're calling for them to be dropped. We're calling for Rashford to be dropped. We're calling for Anthony at times to be dropped, Martial at times to be dropped. So when these players are playing well, Amrabat had a good game, had a great game yesterday.
Quickly, Kabir, are you still on the line?
Yeah.
Kabir, just quickly before we move on to the next caller, your midfield 3, your best midfield 3, Man United midfield 3, go.
no point to add over here. It's related to Rasmus Hojlund. I don't want to add.
Kabir, just give me the names. Just give me the names. Who are you picking in your midfield? You're Kabir Ten Hag, and you've got to pick 3 players for the midfield. Who are you picking?
I'm overall, if no injuries are there.
Yeah, no
it's
injuries.
Bruno and Ahmedabad. But with injuries, including, I'm saying it should be Bruno, Mainu, Ahmedabad. That's the people who are going to be starting. And
Okay.
I'm sorry, but yeah. And my one question is: do you guys think that Rasmus is a good player right now? Like, I know people are taking a shot at him about, oh, he can't score goals in the Premier League, but you just look at the way he's setting up these goals. He's indirectly setting up the goals, and he's pressing also. The way he presses.
We'll dissect that question. We'll dissect that question if he's a good player or not. But Kabir, thank you very much for calling. The next caller will be Ben, that I'll bring on very shortly. Rasmus is a good player.
Yeah, he's a good player. I don't think
it's a very yes or no question. But
yeah, I think it's reactionary to say he's not a good player. I think that's a bit crazy. But
midfield 3, best midfield 3, Man United.
No injuries.
No injuries.
Obviously Bruno. No injury. That's actually a difficult question, to be fair. I like Mainu. I really like Mainu. But to say going forward, I would still put Casemiro in there. And then in the middle, that could literally be anyone. I'd say
everybody in the chat, midfield 3. No
Who
injuries. Yeah, same. Mainu, Cas, and Bruno by default has to be in there. So it's like midfield 2. Yeah, midfield 2. And you know what? I want to do this as well quickly. Give me your midfield 3 in the chat. You would prefer, and also give me your favourite back line, Manchester United back line, because obviously it's a lot of chopping and changing. People are even saying Luke Shaw centre back for the Liverpool game and Reguilon left back. So that's another one as well. But we've got the next caller, who is Ben. Ben wants to talk about team going forward, Ten Hag's rotation, and Hojlund getting hate. Ben, are you there? Can you hear us?
Yes, sir. How you guys doing?
I'm alive. Thank you very much. We're good. We're happy. Ten Hag's rotation. Let's touch on that. What is it that with Ten Hag's rotation? Are you happy? Unhappy?
Well, first off, it's nice to talk to you guys after a victory, because I feel like lately it's just been I've been calling in after all these losses and bad results, and this just feels much better. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. Yeah. But mostly, I actually wanted to talk about how last night after the game, Scott McTominay came out and talked about how training was lighter and they felt fresher, because before the game yesterday, I was terrified that we were going to have another performance like at St. James's Park, and we were going to be flat. And the way that we all pressed together for 90 minutes and the energy was high the entire game, I was shocked. And I was like, what team am I watching? Like, this looks completely different. And it's kind of damning, but Marcus Rashford being out of the team yesterday, it seemed to be the biggest difference. Obviously Martial, but we know Martial's had his fitness issues, and he's pretty much done as a top level footballer. But Marcus Rashford being out of that team yesterday seemed like to be the biggest thing. And I wanted to ask you guys, like, do you think he's sort of been dragging down the rest of the team?
Mordzs, do you think he's dragging down the team?
Dragging down's a bit harsh. I think every player is still their own player.
You can't say that, because less than 12 months ago he was uplifting the team.
What?
Agreed.
To say that
Marcus Rashford was. He was uplifting the team.
Okay, but it's still a bit harsh to say that he's dragging them down, I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Okay,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's very harsh to say that he's dragging everyone down. Everyone's still their own player. Yeah, for you to all rely on one player it's not even I know it shouldn't have to be the captain to lift everyone up, but Rashford's not the captain. He's not the guy who has to be leading everyone. To say he's dragging them down, I think as a collective, United haven't been amazing this season, so I disagree, in my opinion.
Okay, let me ask you this. I forgot who was saying this actually, but I heard it on one of was it Sky or somewhere. You know, look, Marcus has been in this club for how many years, right?
8 years now.
He's made his debut years ago, right? Players like Facundo, they're only just about making the team at times. Marcus's experience level, in all honesty, is probably more than players who are past their 30s, right? Yeah. Players who played till 35 years old. Marcus's experience as a player is way above that at this point. Yeah. Marcus is, in my opinion, a senior player, if you ask me, based on experience, just amount of games and minutes he's played in his life. Shouldn't Marcus Rashford be almost the player for Manchester United? Who it is Bruno. You know, let's be honest, because it seems like he's the player that can't be dropped when we pick our midfield three. But shouldn't Marcus Rashford be that player as well for our front line? And isn't it disheartening that he isn't?
Absolutely. It's absolutely disheartening. He should be the first name on the team sheet.
He should be carrying us. He should be our biggest goal threat, carrying us, getting the winning goals, being that person, the face of the club.
Yes, he's the one on the big wages, right? Like, all the other players on big wages, they've all been dropped or exiled from the club. But Marcus is the big wage earner now that's still here. And now it almost seems like Garnacho has locked down the left wing. That should be his position, right? Like, where else in world football do you see that this situation happen, right? Like a big time player gets then displaced by a teenager and move to a different position. And it seems like listen, I'm a Marcus Rashford defender. Last year was great, 40 goals and assists, right? But like this year, it's been very bad.
Yeah, it's too much. What do you have to say, man?
I mean, we have seen this in other clubs. We saw Aubameyang obviously he got sold. That's very different. But we've seen it with Grealish get dropped because he wasn't playing the exact same way, the exact way that Pep wanted him to play. We saw Hazard get dropped from Marino because he wasn't playing the exact same way. Yeah. I think being on the big wages and being a big player, if you're a serious manager, as in, like, if you're a manager that is going to take control of your club, you have to be able to do these things. I don't think it's out of the blue or out of the waters to say, how can Rashford get dropped because he's so big? I don't think that's a crazy thing to do for Ten Hag. It happens a lot across big clubs, and I think that sorry, were you going to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say. So yeah, I agree. You're right. It does happen across big clubs. It happens at serious clubs. So my other question is what I'm very intrigued of is going forward. Is Ten Hag going to keep Rashford on the bench, or what is he going to do with him? Because last night seemed like a completely different team without him. So is he going to put him right back into the starting lineup? Like, you know, we have Antony on the right wing, who's on, you know, he's got his 90 million contract. Garnacho's on the left. Rasmus is up front. What does Ten Hag do with Rashford going forward? That's what I think is going to be the biggest thing.
I'll be deadly honest. Him bringing Rashford on yesterday annoyed me. I was annoyed.
Yeah, agreed.
I was very annoyed.
You didn't want to see him?
No need. Absolutely no need. Martial would have done much better than Rashford. There's no need to bring Rashford on in that game. Nothing is adding.
But I think it's just a different tactic to try and get Rashford back to where he is. I remember I said before about Ten Hag's method of trying to get different players back to form, and his method with Rashford has been so far this season to just play him and just hope.
Yeah, but bringing Rashford on the 84th minute only tells me that you're scared of freezing him out of the team.
He left him out for Fulham for the whole game.
But,
it's a big game though, Chelsea.
If you're Faz Ten Hag, if you're Faz Ten Hag, what do you do with Rashford going forward?
Look, I'll have a bias because I will think of the team and think I'll need to sell him. But I'm also very much aware of the club that I manage and the owners that are above me, and that certain decisions are out of my hands. The only thing I could do is freeze him out the starting 11 until he shows me in the training pitch that he's adjusting his game to help the team and adding something to the team. And if I keep winning the way, for example, Chelsea game, if I have good performances like I did against Galatasaray, if I just have good performances, then nobody can chat shit, basically. Nobody can say anything. I'm winning. I'm getting results. Yeah. With or without Rashford, with or without anyone, it doesn't matter. It's all about winning at the end of the day. So if the team is winning, nobody can complain.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Agreed.
Thank you anyways for joining. Sorry, go on.
I just think it's going to be hard with Garnacho on the left. He is unplayable right now. He has absolutely been incredible. And I think he's been, along with Bruno, our best
But I'll just
player.
touch on this quickly. You can't keep playing Garnacho as well. He has to look how top managers in top clubs with great amount of talent in their squad they'll almost give you enough minutes and then just pull you back out and then put someone else in at times, unless you're an exceptional talent like a Bernardo Silva or Kevin De Bruyne or Haaland. They'll keep chopping because you need to keep that motivation for the whole season, you know. If you keep playing Garnacho, the playfulness that he has, eventually it will turn into, well, I'm just walking into the first team. And I'm not saying that will happen, by the way. I'm just saying just need to keep enough of that motivation all season, which I hope is possible. Which I hope it is.
A healthy rotation.
Yeah, a healthy rotation. That's it. Yeah, I mean, we're not in the Carabao Cup, but and we're getting kicked out of the Champions League. Oh, God. So there ain't no place for rotation even. But I don't even want to disrespect the bottom half of the league and say Rashford could play in those games. I don't want to disrespect them. But you get my gist, right? Just play Rashford in certain games.
I would keep Garnacho. I mean, look at Saka. When Saka didn't get dropped when he was playing,
Saka but look at how much they play in Saka, and Saka might get his injuries.
But look at the level he's playing at right now.
That's true.
But because he played that much, he developed quickly, and now he's 22 and he's playing one of the best wingers in the world.
Yes.
So why can't the same thing be done for Garnacho?
No, fair point. Fair point. Thank you very much, Ben, for calling in. Appreciate your call and your questions. Take care. Next caller we have is my very good friend Ronald, who is a die-hard Bruno fan.
Okay.
He will go to the ends of earth for Bruno Fernandes. Also, big shout out to Beth, who's in the chat as well, who's watching in. Thank you very much, Beth, for watching in. Ronald, I don't understand. Defending Bruno, supporting Bruno on what we did. Nobody criticised him, but he just called in and said, "I just want to do a Bruno dialogue." Ronald, are you there?
I'm sorry.
Yes, can you hear me?
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. You said you want to support Bruno Fernandes. Has he not got enough support already?
I'll be honest, Mod. He actually does not have enough support because, if he scores a goal and an assist after a Champions League night, I'm hearing that, it was Bruno's fault,
Okay.
Oh, he did not do that. He was telling players to pass the ball when you see a pass, and he himself was actually taking a shot on the goal. So, there is a conversation about Bruno not being the guy, because just like 5 minutes ago, I heard Faz and you guys were talking about who's going to carry the team, right?
Yeah.
Is it going to be Bruno Fernandes carrying the team, or Marcus Rashford has to pitch in? Let me ask you this: when you look at Tottenham Hotspur, who's carrying the team? Is it just Heung-min Son? No. Kulusevski, he puts in his work as well.
He puts in a heavy shift.
He does the thing.
Yeah, he does.
He does his thing. So, and these are deficiencies when you talk about the midfield and everything. You guys were asking a question about the ideal midfield. For me, it would be Bruno Fernandes. Like it or not, you can't take him out. Boo you, and Kobe Mino right behind him.
Hold on, stop there. Stop right there, because for the people who don't know, obviously people don't know this, but me and Ronald speak privately, and we always have a back and forth, because I am adamant that Bruno Fernandes is not the player going forward for Erik ten Hag.
What? Oh my God.
I know, and I'm being proven wrong.
You see, you hear.
So out of the 11 players.
No, as in like he's one of the players that it wouldn't fit in Ten Hag's system. The proper Ajax-esque Ten Hag system, the creme de la creme, the full complete project of Erik ten Hag.
I want to hear.
And he hates me for it.
I want to hear his opinion on that.
But here's my point: when you take Rashford out of the equation, Bruno flourishes. The whole team plays well. Now, okay, there's a conversation about Marcus Rashford playing in the team, right? And this is what I've been trying to put across to a lot of people, that Marcus Rashford is not necessarily a player that Ten Hag wants in his team. It's the management who wants their Mancunian boy to play every game, in and out, be the star boy. They're trying to push him on the right wing. You have a two-legged right wing who can actually run up and down, and he's holding the bench for who? Marcus Rashford. And what is he doing over there? That's a different conversation. Playing Garnacho, in and out. I hear you. You can't do that. But then again, you said Bernardo Silva. You said a lot of names. All coaches had to believe in those guys at some point to give them that run. Now you talk about it. Oh, how amazing was it? So does Erik ten Hag have to take that risk? He absolutely does. Real Madrid at some point wanted Garnacho, right? So there is a talent. We all know there is a talent in there, and Garnacho can actually go ahead and pull up the ranks. If he is able to, at the age of 18 that he is, able to bench big Marcus Rashford, big chain Marcus Rashford. Let me not spread malicious rumors, but big chain Marcus Rashford, if he can bench him right now, like, just think about it. What this guy gonna do in like 5 years from now?
Yeah.
I get it. I get it. I just thought, considering Bruno's age, what is he, 29?
28.
28?
No,
Something
around
like that,
that age
28,
anyway.
29. And just, listen, possession-based football, you need ballers.
But I don't think you can. I don't think. If I'm Ten Hag, I'm thinking, how can I mix the two together? That's what That's the best managers
He did say
do.
that in press conference. He says that. I want to mix my
You have to.
ethos and philosophy with Manchester United.
Dropping the best player who makes everybody else play better makes no sense.
Yeah,
So-
I hear that. I'm being proven wrong because when Mason Mount was signed, me and Ronald, and I put it out there that this is the way that he's going to fizzle out Bruno Fernandes. But it's not been the case. It's not been the case.
He's not going to fizzle out Bruno Fernandes because when Mason Mount played in the Crystal Palace game, when Bruno was benched, he was playing in the 8th position where Eriksen plays. Hannibal Mabry was playing in Bruno's position, so he can't even play that position when Bruno's a holding bench.
Yeah.
Big man, what's going on?
So far, we haven't. Yeah. It's true.
Yeah, I think out of every single player at United, Bruno is the last player that should be getting replaced right now. I think there's so many more average players.
What if Middle East come in for Bruno?
No.
75, 80 mil.
75 million, that's pocket change for United. It should be like at least 150. If I'm Ten Hag, I'm saying I want 150
What do you
minimum.
value? How much do you value Bruno Fernandes?
Realistically,
Yeah, realistic mix with a bit of Man United.
realistically, a bit of Man United. I'm saying,
Get involved in the chat as well. How much is Bruno Fernandes worth to
I'm
you?
saying
How many millions?
because of his age, it does kind of skew it. But forget the age and all that kind of stuff. He's 120. If Enzo Fernandez and Caicedo and Declan Rice and João Felix and
Age
what's he
is
called?
a big factor, though.
That's what they're disregarding age.
Okay, so let's talk about this. So I'm hearing Enzo Fernandez, right? I just heard that name, and it's a trigger point for me at this point. I'll be honest with you, because there was a time after the World Cup when me and my dear friend with the drip, Faz, we were having a conversation about Enzo, right? And he said, "Well, this is one guy who can actually, build around. You can build around him, and he possibly can take Bruno out of his position." Well, he is in a much expensive team with a better team and a better personnel, still not pulling up anything.
Yeah.
When was the last time you even saw an assist from him?
Yeah. No, I get it.
Kept having an impact on the game. There's no assist from him either.
But funny thing is, when Man United were not
I'm sorry.
performing well, people were so adamant we should have got Maddison, who could have come and helped out the team. People were very adamant.
Absolutely. I myself wanted Maddison to be there because Maddison is the kind of guy who would absolutely hold bench. He would be okay with it. He's at that point in age where he's going to be okay with being, like you said, a second fiddle who's going to come on, play some games, have a rotational thing going on. He's performing good for Tottenham, but then again, he's injured now, isn't he? And Mason Mount is not that guy because Mason Mount, he wants minutes. What was the story that was told when Mason Mount was bought? Oh, his father loves the club, right?
Yeah.
He gave the assist for Champions League. Barring those two things, what can Mason Mount, Mason Mount agenda, Mason Mount Defense League can talk about?
True, he's not really done anything. Ronald, thank you very much for calling in. Really appreciate you. The chat clearly love you as well with your take on Bruno Fernandes. With all that being said, though,
before I go,
Faz,
I just want to ask one last question. I'm sorry, I'm stepping over a line.
No, go on.
I asked this question last time when Double A and Beth were hosting.
Yeah,
it.
Sabitzer.
So Sabitzer and Amrabat
Sabitzer
and
or Amrabat?
Sabitzer, Mason Mount and Amrabat. Who are you picking now?
Sabitzer, Mason Mount, or Amrabat.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a good question.
It's easy for me.
I actually like Sabitzer.
I like Sabitzer.
I didn't want him to leave. I'll be honest, I didn't want him to leave. I remember that Sevilla game where he scored 2 goals. I was thinking Sabitzer has to stay for us.
Look, and he's doing well.
So I'd say Sabitzer, I'll be honest. Mason Mount,
based on right now, anyways.
Based on right now, yeah. I couldn't put Mason Mount based on right now. And Amrabat had a good game yesterday, but I still don't even know where his actual position is. But yeah, I'd say Sabitzer. What would you say?
Yeah, I say Sabitzer.
You say Sabitzer?
Yeah, I like Sabitzer quite a bit. I liked him quite a bit. And I was thinking that he should have stayed, but how much did he go for? 25 million?
I mean, we had him alone though.
19
million he went for, and we paid 10 million for Amrabat's loan alone. So yeah, Ronald, thank you very much, anyways, for calling in. We have to move in. We have to move on, Ronald. I'm really sorry. We have to. Ronald's gone. Okay, thank you very much, anyways. Thank you. We've got the next caller, who is Chris. who's come straight out guns blazing. He said, if you are an Ole out, how are you not Ten Hag out?
Don't see the correlation, but let's hear it.
Well, I'm happy to tell you the correlation.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Let's hear it.
So, I wasn't Ollie out. I also didn't think it was right to sack him when he got sacked. A lot of our fan base became Ollie out, or else did think it was right for him to be sacked when he was sacked. Here's everything that we are currently worse at now under Ten Hag than we were under Ollie. So just bear with me for a minute.
Okay.
These were stats released just recently. I think it was ESPN. Okay, so this is everything that we're worse at under Erik Ten Hag than under Ollie. Our average goals for per game, our average goals conceded per game, both worse. Our average XG, worse. Our points against the top 6, worse. Points against the top 9, worse. Points from a losing position, worse. So if we go behind under Ten Hag, we're most likely to lose. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's team set a record for the most points from a losing position gained in a single season. The amounts of games that we win by 2 goals or more, worse. Again, Ole set a United and Premier League record for the amount of times that United put 4 goals or more past an opponent in a single season. Our points away from home, worse. Again, Ole broke an away record, a better record than even Fergie had. Our goals spread throughout the team, worse. That's 8 or 9 major performance markers that we are either worse or a lot worse than we were under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Even if you consider just this season under Ten Hag and compare it to the season in which Ole got sacked, in that season Ole got sacked, we beat Leeds 5-1, we beat Newcastle 4-1, we beat a good Spurs team 3-0 away from home, which is still our last away win against the top 9 team. We also had qualified already for the next round of the Champions League when he was sacked, in beating PSG 2-1, beating Atalanta 3-2, beating Villarreal 2-1. At the minute under Ten Hag, as I said, we are worse in all of those aspects of performance, which are major aspects. They're not just little fluffy things. They're the main performance markers that you mark how a team is doing. Despite having a better team, Ten Hag has a better team. I don't know a single Man United fan that would swap this squad that Ten Hag has for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's squad. And as I said, Solskjaer had already qualified us for the next round of the Champions League. So I don't understand that if people who were Ole out are not Ten Hag out, or if people who thought it was right to sack Ole when he was sacked don't think it's right to maybe sack Ten Hag. I'm not quite at the point that I would say sack Ten Hag, but I'm not far off it. Like you said, Faz, he's got to do a lot to earn my backing at the minute. An awful lot, because we are considerably worse.
Okay, I'll let you go, Mons, first.
I was going to say, the position that we're in right now, as you know, in the table, obviously Ten Hag won a trophy last season. Would you say that we are in a worse position than when Ole left United?
Pardon? Well, we are. I mean, lads, I've just given you 8 or 9.
No, I mean, in the position, obviously you gave it like statistics, stuff like that. I'm saying the position that we're in right now, like I said, last season we came, where did we come, 3rd? We obviously won a trophy. This season we're in and around 6th, 5th, and we're not too far off 4th. Yeah. Would you say we're in a worse position now than when Ole left?
Yeah, I think we are in a worse position simply because we're bottom of our Champions League group. At the time Ole was sacked, we were top and going to the next round. I felt that during that season, the people we should have been calling to be sacked wasn't Solskjaer, it was Ed Woodward and his other staff. So in the previous season, we had finished, our last game was the Europa League final. On that pitch, and I've rewatched this interview a few times to make sure I'm right, on the pitch after the match, because that was still when they were doing interviews outside on the pitch, Solskjaer was asked, what do you need to turn this team from finishing 2nd in the Premier League and runner-up in trophies to winning the Premier League and winning trophies? Solskjaer said, I need 5 top-quality players. The interviewer said, where? He said, all over the pitch. We started the following season, after that summer transfer window, with 1 new signing, Jadon Sancho. That was the only signing he got when he said he needed 5. He wanted them all over the pitch, right throughout his reign. And I'm not saying we would have got all of these, but they were all viable at the time he wanted them. They failed to get him Haaland twice, at one point only for £19 million. They failed to get him Bellingham when he was only £27 million, and Ollie pulled out all the stops. Bellingham's own father said he wanted to go, but it became clear that only the coaches wanted him, not the whole club. Whereas at Dortmund, the whole club wanted Bellingham. He wanted Grealish. The club Woodward wouldn't spend the 60 million that Aston Villa wanted for Grealish. Instead, spent 40 million on Van de Beek that Ollie didn't want. He wanted Trippier for 12 million. Didn't buy him for him. He was so badly undermined. I heard Beth the other day saying that at some point we have to stick with the manager through the rough patch. I'm worried that the time that we should have stuck with the manager through a rough patch was under Solskjaer at the point that he got sacked. And not just because of Solskjaer, because of his whole management team. He had under him Carrick and McKenna, who again, lots of our fans were given flack to at the time, who have gone on to prove that they are very, very good coaches. Not just good coaches, very good coaches with what they're doing at Middlesbrough and Ipswich. At the minute, I'm worried that we are now reaping what we sowed. I don't see enough this season to see Ten Hag turning it around. I mean, yes, last night was better. It was definitely better. But one goal win against a poor Chelsea at home is not enough for me to think, okay, yes, give him lots more time. I mean, a bit more time maybe, but we have been absolutely abysmal this season. Let's not let last night start to fool us, okay, and not become really basic and just let a good result last night suddenly rewrite the whole season. We have been abysmal this season. And that, again, is with a better team. Sorry, I know I'm talking an awful
No,
lot.
it's okay. It's okay. You know, a lot of people in the chat are not liking you. And I'll tell you why. Because people are blinded by Ten Hag's grace, as I call it. And I can understand why, because they want to... The reason why a lot of people don't want to let Erik Ten Hag go anyways is because they're tired, not because they believe in Erik Ten Hag. Yeah. The football that you've been seeing doesn't make you believe shit. Sorry, excuse my French, but it doesn't make you believe anything. The reason why people don't want another manager, the number one thing that comes on their lips is it's another cycle. So you're tired of the cycle. You're more tired of the football, but you're using the cycle as an excuse to justify the football that he's playing. Yeah. What he said, whether people like it or not, right? I'll tell you what, whether people like it or not, it's factual information. The lot of it. Yeah. What he's been saying is factual. Nothing he's said Chris has said is made up. Now, the fact that I want to come on to is all his results didn't justify him getting more time. That's just simple as it is. If you don't get the results, you could have wanted and X, Y, and Z, whatever, and it doesn't matter. And the reason why I say that is he might have not been backed. Boo-hoo. Tough luck. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to a theory of mine. Manchester City make panic signings. Matthias Nunes is a panic. They have made panic signings. Look at the way their team is this season and
not the main sign. Their main sign is never a panic signing.
But they are making panic signings. Pep is overcooking his squad with some of the signings.
He's always done this his whole career.
But people don't call it out, right?
But I would call it panic signings.
My point is, what I'm saying is Manchester United are the type of club that they are. The managers need to do better with what they have. That's the most important. Do better with what they have. But Chris, I hear your point. Thank you very much for calling, though. Really appreciate you. But you listen, whether people like it or not, Chris has said certain things that you might have to consider because it's only one game that we had a good performance, and then it was what other game that we had a good performance? Palace at Cup game, we had a decent performance. Galatasaray, we had a good performance, but obviously it didn't work out our way. You need to. This type of calls is important. It just kind of wakes you up a little bit before you get excited.
I think he made some great points and he articulated it well. But I would say, like with Ollie, like you said, the problem was the fact that he was losing a lot of big. Like he was losing semi-finals, he lost a final. Yeah. You can't just say I'm granted 5 big players from Manchester. You think that? Come on, the owners are never going to do that. Ten Hag, factually, he won. And that's just fact. That's a fact. You won. That's one thing in football you can never take away from someone. Yeah. I won, you didn't. Therefore, I should be rewarded for winning. Yeah. So I think that's just the
Dylan, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for dialing in. Dylan's got a topic to raise, which is recruitment. Dylan, are you happy, unhappy with the recruitment?
Not really, no.
And why is that?
Hello?
I can hear you, Dylan. We can hear you.
All right, yeah. Nah, we keep splashing out on prospects and relics. but the best prospects we have are coming through the club. So I don't know why we're sort of spending so much.
Fantastic point. Sensational point. Clapping emojis for Dylan. Absolute, hit the nail on the goddamn head. That's a bullseye, absolute bullseye. Probably call of the day that was. That we spending money on these talent when the best talent's coming out of our club.
Yeah.
It's just simple. There's no more dissecting or unpacking this. It's plain and simple. Garnacho, Hannibal, Kobe Mino. Striker-wise, I don't know about Hojlund and Charlie McNeil. Charlie's on loan. Hugo's not made his way into the first team. Yeah, I know he's training. Centre-back wise, we've not really had. Goalkeeper messed up on that one. Big mess up on that one.
Dean.
No, academy. Okay. There's Eli Harrison. There's Kovar as well. Obviously that let go. So there's talent there. The 100% fantastic point that there is talent there, but we're not bringing him out.
Let him carry on.
What would you pose as a solution though, if you're not happy with the recruitment?
Well, to find more of the cheaper options, like we see Chelsea splashing out with shitloads of money, but it doesn't always work, and then you look like a idiot when you get it wrong, and everyone starts complaining. But just to be more smart and make the sensible signings, and we need to learn how to sell.
But Dylan,
players.
are you not happy with? Are you happy with Rasmus Hojlund and not the transfer? Like, as in the transfer fee? Is that what you're trying to?
I think Rasmus was the wrong signing.
Wow. Whoa.
But he's not ready, is he? And that's what we needed.
Do you feel like...
Sorry, Mod. No. He's not ready, and that's what we needed. Ready for what? Competing for titles?
No, but we needed the main striker with Rasmus as the up-and-coming striker.
That's what I was going to say.
Well,
right.
We're like... we're preparing for the future, but we've got no one to bring him through.
Okay. And I was literally going to say that. I think, especially for strikers, being able to look up to someone who's already there. I mean, I think Beth was saying the other day about we should have got Kane and Hojlund. I don't know how realistic that would have been, but getting a proven Premier League striker to be able to come in and kind of like guide Hojlund a little bit, so he kind of iron out all them creases that he has in his game, and then he'll be able to be eventually our main striker. So I agree with what you're saying.
Do you think we would have been better off? Everybody in the chat, and I just want a yes or no. Just a yes or no. Would we have been better with Andre Onana and Harry Kane, with a midfield of Scott McTominay, Kobe Mino and Bruno, or Casemiro, Kobe Mino and Bruno, considering Casemiro's injury? Let's say Casemiro's injury was just as it is. So we had Scott McTominay, Mino and Bruno, and just Onana and Harry Kane as signings. Would we have been better off? Yes or no? Maud?
Oh, you're asking me?
Yeah, and the chat.
Well, Mount's not turned up, has he yet? But I think Mount is to replace Bruno. I think you would sell Bruno in the summer.
If you could sell Bruno...
But do you think yes or no? Would we have been better off? Onana and Harry Kane splash out, absolutely break the bank.
Oh yeah.
For Harry Kane, because Garnacho would still play, Rashford would be out. Yeah. Everything remains carbon copy. Only players you're getting in is Onana and Harry Kane. No one else. Maybe you might get a loan, whatever, because all of that stands. Everything stands. But in terms of buying players, you only buy Onana and Harry Kane. A midfield of Scott McTominay, Kobe Mino and Bruno. A front line of Garnacho, Harry Kane and Anthony. Would we have been better off?
Yeah.
100%.
What would you say?
It wouldn't have been the answer for the future.
But we would have been better off.
You've got that platform to build on.
Yeah.
You're not rushing.
Well, look, thank you very much, Dylan, for the call in. I really appreciate you. Very, very good point raised. Yeah. And I like how you raised it, sharp and punchy. It was straight. Thank you very much. The next caller is Kevin, who says, wait, am I reading this right? How Rashford got dropped, as in, are you not happy?
Game.
Oh, are you not happy that Rashford got dropped, or are you saying how Rashford got dropped? What is it that you want to bring up if you are there? Kevin, can you hear us?
Yes, how you guys doing? Can you guys hear me?
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for joining.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, guys. Appreciate it. But yeah, basically, I just wanted to say, I like how finally we've all been crying out for Rashford to actually be dropped, and finally Erik ten Hag did it. And I just wanted to say that I think that's a good way to go about it. I mean, we've all been crying out for that to happen with other players who haven't been performing, and we saw how better we played as a team, and instead of just playing to his strengths, we played to the team's strengths. And Garnacho, his output wasn't the best. His final outcome wasn't the best, but you can see how this guy just runs and takes on players and crosses the ball, either taking on players through the byline or either cutting in and
He
crossing
can
the
cross
ball.
with his
And
left and right
every
leg foot.
time
Yeah.
Rashford gets the ball,
Yeah.
yeah, hello.
Yeah, we can hear you. Continue.
Yeah. Every time like Rashford gets the ball, he just kind of like just goes into like a blind alley and just crashes into the defenders. And I don't want to make it too much on Rashford because the most thing the most thing that he's done this season is just be on Twitter. But at the end of the day, this should be for every player who doesn't perform well, and we've been crying out for that to happen, and finally it happened. So I guess I just want to say that is not just on Rashford. It should be for everybody. Like no position in the squad is secure, and I think that
You
dropping
think
your
Bruno
most
Fernandes'
expensive,
position isn't secure?
and dropping your most expensive paid player is the right way to do it. The right way to go about it. But yeah, that's just basically like my
What do you
message. I
think,
just
Mark?
wanted to.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, I do think Bruno's place is secure. I think he's probably the only player whose place is secure.
Honest?
Because he's a number one, it's hard. I don't think dropping keepers should ever be a thing anyway. I
Luke
think
Shaw's?
as a left-sided centre-back or
No,
as a left-back.
back. You see how I'm doing?
Trying to reel me in.
You see, you can't play these games with me.
No, he is. But again, he's kind of left-back and left-sided centre-back. So I feel like.
But it's secure though in the starting 11.
But I guess there's a few. It's not a lot though. There isn't a lot.
Dallo?
That's the point I'm trying to make. No.
What?
No.
How dare you?
No.
You lost your goddamn mind.
We're not even going to talk about. Let's talk about Dallo. I mean, I think the next caller is going to speak about the right-back situation anyway. But
you lost your goddamn mind, Moss.
He's definitely not confirmed for me. No way.
Kevin, thank you very much for calling in. Appreciate you. Let's go to Adam, who's the next caller. Adam, thank you for joining. He says the current state of the club, right-back situation, and he says Ten Hag should go. He wants Ten Hag to leave. Wow. Let's start off, Adam, with why you think Ten Hag should go. Adam, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Do you guys hear me all right?
Yes, we can. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem.
By the way, sorry, Adam. For the people who don't know, me and Adam speak privately, and Adam absolutely has had enough of this manager. He wants him gone now. As in, right now.
Maybe, yeah. But the thing is, yesterday was a very good game, a good performance, but we can't expect that to happen given the data we have on this team. It would be very naive to expect this team to come back with another good performance many successive times. It's just not something this team does. And my thing with the manager is, at this point, I don't care if he stays or he goes. And I get to that point when I think of myself, if this manager was making those decisions in a good structure, in a good environment, would I criticize him still? Yes, I would. And he's making some decisions. My main problem with the manager is, I don't think he's assessing the players in the right way, and I think it's a problem across the fan base as well.
Assessing the players in the right way, how so?
I think there are some players that are shocking, that players that people think are good, and vice versa.
Wow.
I think we need more players.
Like who?
I think Marcus Rashford is absolutely abysmal. I think he's appalling. Really, really is. And I was listening to the previous callers, and everyone was saying he's the big player. He should be carrying the team. The manager wants to bring him back into form and play him into form. And I'm like, hold on. Who are we talking about here? Are we talking about Franck Ribéry or something? Am I missing something? We are not trying to play prime Eden Hazard or Neymar into form. We are talking about Marcus Rashford. Marcus Rashford, at best, is a squad player that you bring on because he's a very, very solid athlete that can give you something. But you don't build your team around. He's not Robin. He's not Neymar. He's not Hazard. He's not really that guy. So what are we trying? Even if we play Rashford back into form, what is that level? It's not that good.
If that's the case, then literally no one on the team should be a starting player.
Yeah, but look at the names he's mentioning.
No, but he's naming some of the greatest players of all time. He's naming Robben and Hazard, and yes, okay, cool. I've never said he was Robben ever. But if you're saying that Rashford is just a squad player that he shouldn't even be starting, no, there's probably about maybe two or three players that should start them because they're all kind of either the same level as Rashford. I'm talking about ability-wise, not form. They're either the same level as Rashford or below him.
Yeah, I think I missed just the last part here.
I think there's 5 players in the team who are guaranteed starters.
Yeah, yeah. I think no one should be guaranteed to start, and this is the problem I think we have with the manager and we have with the fan base.
I think there are 5.
Guaranteed starters.
Yeah.
People. This is the problem. Something that bugs me, and I know we don't have much time, but this is something I think is very interesting. I think we need more players that quote unquote do nothing, because people say, oh, Sancho, like for example the Sancho case. I'm with the manager on that one. I think Sancho's been a disgrace, and you cannot take the piss out of your manager and your teammates. It's just disrespectful. I don't like lack of discipline. I stand with the coach on that. But people were criticizing Sancho for not doing anything. And I'm like, you're not getting it. This is top-level football. We need more players that can control a ball and pass it, because it's a team sport. And when everything starts doing the little things right, something good will happen. Like, for example, Kobbie Mainoo, the performance against Everton. I'm really excited about Kobbie Mainoo. I think he looks proper, to be honest. I really like the kid. But that performance, if he was a 29-year-old Italian player or Dutch player, people would criticize him, saying, what is it that he do? Sideways and backwards and just quick passes. But that's exactly what he should be doing. But since he's a young kid from our academy,
the packaging is different. Because the packaging is different. He's a young kid. Yeah. Continue.
Yeah, exactly. Because he's mature for his age, and I get that. But my thing is, we need more players playing like Kobbie. More players like, look, Martial needs to go, but we need more players that play like Martial, like Matic, Mata, all the players. Luke Shaw is a quality player. We need players that get the ball and pass it, because you need, first thing is to create an environment in which creativity can happen. You cannot start with creativity, because by definition, creativity needs to happen in a controlled and strict environment. Otherwise, it's not creativity, it's chaos. We have two main elements of chaos.
Adam, what did you want to say about the right-back position?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
The right-back position?
Yeah, you wanted to say something?
I think I like Dalot. I really do.
Be very careful now. Be very careful now.
Speak your mind.
Be very careful now. You're talking about my boy.
We need another right-back.
Thank you.
I think we need another right-back, to be honest. Because
okay, who are you selling between Dalot and Bissaka?
I'm sorry?
Who are you selling between Dalot and Bissaka?
I would sell Bissaka first without hesitating.
That's okay. No problem. Thank you very much.
Cheers, mate. Love.
Thank you very much. No, you're still here. I said cheers. Hold that one.
No, I'll let you finish. I'll let him finish and then I'll speak.
I was just talking because the example I wanted to give is Manchester City, because we have the fan base talking about Rodri, how good Rodri is. But Rodri, if we had him, he wouldn't be appreciated. And if we had Carrick, he wouldn't be appreciated. Those players, they get the ball and they pass it. And then they create space. Because those simple passes, look at Amrabat's performance yesterday. He was dominant defensively, but just quick pass. Give it and give it simple. Take it, give it simple. And then you create space. And then you allow the others to show that talent. Because football has changed a lot in the last 30 years, but the very basics are the same. You need to make the pitch big when you have the ball to create space, and when you don't have the ball, you make the pitch small. And you do that by doing the simple things right, because players can do mistakes, fair enough. But I cannot accept players making mistakes trying to do the wrong thing, because the mindset from the start is wrong. And those little things add up. Players have margins of error, and those margins tend to accumulate. Rashford has a big margin for error. Bruno has a very large margin for error. You need to reduce that, because the whole thing is bigger than the sum of its parts. And that is what sports are.
You
cannot put 11 players and expect it to be the sum of 11 players. It's bigger than that.
Thank you very much, Adam, for the topics that you brought on, some very good points made by yourself, and I think we could do with another right back. Yeah, I'm not going to sit here
Dalot
and say
should not be going as in, if we want to be the best team in the league, Dalot is not in that team. There's no way.
Who is?
As in, who plays in the team? There's
who would you bring in as a right back that could take Man United to compete?
Depends on who's on offer, but there's players.
No, just pick one name. Okay. No, everybody's in offer. We're Man United.
Everyone's on offer.
Everyone's on offer. Who are you bringing?
Alphonso Davies. Everyone's on offer. Everyone's on offer, but I know I'm being realistic, innit? Obviously, that's not a realistic answer, but I don't think I think there's a lot of players in our team where our standard, I think our standards as United has dropped, and I think that's why like people look at Dalot and think, yeah, I love Dalot. No, Dalot is a player who would thrive in a 6th to 10th team. Like that's the kind of team where Dalot's like he's a top player, but a team that wants to win the league, Dalot's not in that team. He's not, and if you look at the best right backs in the league, he's not even a tier below them. He's 2 tiers below them.
We'll cross that bridge when we come to it. Couple of super chats. Let me just address them quickly. Isan says, just some maths. If we beat 10th to 20th placed twice. That's 66 points right there. A positive so far this season is that we've shut out weaker teams. That's his super chat. Jake says, how many of those Ole stats are due to empty stadiums during COVID? How can you even compare that? These fans going on about Ole goldfish, or Ole are goldfish. I don't know how Ole stats are in any way, shape or form comparable to a stadium being empty. I don't know what's the relation, unless you have some conspiracy theory that Man United played better when we had empty stadium, or Bruno scored more goals. I don't know.
Me and Liverpool won the league, so...
They didn't get to touch it. Yeah. All that. Space Audi says, the clubs can't get big players. So in this situation like that, we can either get washed up by big players like Ole or future stars like Ten Hag has done. So he thinks Ten Hag's signing future stars and Ole just wanted big players. But at the time when Ole wanted those players, they weren't as big as they are now. So Ole was still identifying future stars. The names are big name players because they've become big name players. Bellingham left and went to Dortmund, Haaland, obviously now. All of these players in time became big name. Even Kieran Trippier now, his name is even bigger than it's ever been. The next caller, because we're very, very short on time. Are we? Yeah, we're short on time. I'm really sorry, guys. That is it for the call-in show. This is why I put the tweet out. I said, if you want to get into the call-in show and have your say, come in early, because the spaces get taken up so quick, and we want to hear everybody out and give everyone ample time. It's been really good, Mordzs. Thank you very, very much. Who was your best caller?
I have no idea. I'd say the recruitment guy. Even though he spoke for a little bit, I think he made a good point very quickly.
It's punchy, isn't it?
And I was like, yeah, fair. He's actually right. I think everybody else kind of.
Very, very punchy. I really, really like that. But yeah, thank you all for joining. Make sure December 11th, Century Hall in Manchester. Ticket links are in the bio. Only a handful of tickets left. Go and get your tickets and come and see us live. We will all be there. Next game is Bournemouth on the weekend in 74 hours, 78 hours, something like 72 hours.
Can't tell you.
But yeah, very, very excited. A lot of exciting callers. Thank you all very much. And we will catch you on the next one. Take care, people.